Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video, I am going to be talking about how some Christians, not all, but a large majority, I would say the fundamentalists most likely, some Christians hate freedom of speech. Oh, they like it in the aspect of them being able to say whatever the fuck they want. But when it comes to anyone else expressing a point of view, or facts regarding their Bible and their Jesus that they don't like and that they can't debate or argue against, then they want to try and call it hate speech. Then they want to try and threaten people. And this isn't just a case of me saying it and not being able to have anything to prove it, because you guys know me. I'm all about proof. And in this one, I have proof. Now, I broke this bit down into smaller bits so that you guys can easily read it. And it starts off with, now, first thing I want to point out, notice their picture, race mixing. This person, I don't know what color they are, but they are a racist. Just from that picture, they're a racist. So right off the top, just going by the picture that they show, they are most likely a racist and a troll. I want to make sure that that is clear. And this person, no doubt, would try to say that they're a Christian, because with what they say, that aspect, basically it should be obvious. But where they start off saying, I have no problem with atheists in all their foolish ignorance, their loss, not mine. But to vehemently attack and blaspheme a faith and its followers shows a very, I guess it's instable. It should be unstable, I guess, is what they're trying to put. Instable and closed mind. Let me pause there, because what they're butthurt about is a video that doesn't surprise me that somebody would be butthurt over, was the Jesus is an immoral cunt video. Now, it's not, by far, it's not one that's gotten the most views, not even close. Nothing has surpassed the 5 Questions for Atheists video that I did years ago. But this one definitely gets their panties in a twist. And all of these comments are on that video, along with my responses to them. And I must say, with this person, I've been rather tame, rather calm in how I deal with them. But their idea that the blaspheming a faith, it's bullshit, the aspect of faith, especially people calling it, Christians calling it faith, because they point to their Bible as proof of what they're believing in. That when you ask them for evidence, they'll point to the Bible. And if that is what they have faith in, or what their faith is based on, then it can't be evidence. Because if it's evidence, then you're not going by faith. You're going by the so-called evidence that you have there. So really, they have to make up their mind. Which are they going by? Are they going by the Bible as evidence, or are they going by faith? If they're going by faith, then they have no evidence, and they have to just admit that fact. However, pointing out where Jesus was not the Messiah, and how he didn't fulfill the criteria for Messiah, as well as pointing out why, to use the term, Jesus was an immoral cunt, and pointing out what is in the Old Testament regarding the law and the God's position on things. It's not blasphemy to say that. If the God of the Bible would exist, it would, I don't see where it would have a problem with me pointing out what I did in that video. If anything, it would be going, yeah, he got it right. One, if he doesn't believe in Judaism, but regarding the subject matter, there was no blasphemy, because Jesus, as far as the God of the Old Testament, it's a false idol. It's an idol. It's a golden calf. The God of the Old Testament would not only not have any respect for Jesus, it would be utterly disgusted and enraged. I mean, in the Old Testament, it killed thousands upon thousands of people just because of worshiping an idol. And Christians think that this God would be kissing their ass because they claim to think something. It's obnoxious. But this morons think isn't only dangerous and destroying him from within, but it's dangerous to anyone that listens to him in his filth. I would see that this could only be dangerous to Christians in regard to the fact that they could realize what I am saying is what is actually in the fucking Bible, and that the things that I'm pointing out are ripping the legs off of Jesus and are eviscerating Christianity. In that regard, yes, what I am saying is very dangerous to Christianity. However, it's not dangerous to me or anyone. Even if the God of the Bible exists, it would actually be helping people, because it is helping to educate them from what would be termed, according to the God of the Old Testament, a false religion, a false cult or belief system or whatnot. Basically, a belief system of blasphemy. Fortunately, his kind has no influence in society as long as children are sheltered from his heathenistic views. That aspect of his kind really irks the shit out of me, because it strikes me as not just bigoted, because this person's a bigot just from their picture, but it's something that I've seen in regards to Christians like this talking about homosexuals or anyone other than them. Even like black people, they're kind. You want to know, asshole? Free rides for gas money. You know what my kind is? My kind is the human kind. The human race. Perhaps someday you'll join us and drop your bigoted, hateful views. It disgusts me. But then they go on to say there is a couple of very important points to remember in this idiot's flawed logic. This is going to be good. If Christ Jesus didn't exist, there is no Christ because the criteria for Messiah weren't fulfilled, but, etc., then why is he such a threat to this moron? He isn't. Jesus, that fictional character, is no more a threat to me than Darth Vader, Pinhead, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. I could go on and on. Fictional characters are not a threat to me. However, they are a threat socially. And what I had pointed out to this person is all I need to indicate the threat that Christianity poses is Matthew Shepard. If you don't know who that is, free rides for gas money, look it up. Google Matthew Shepard, and you might see why somebody like me would be so vehemently opposed to people like you. The very fact that this lunatic attacks the Messiah proves his existence and realness. No, stupid. And Jesus wasn't a Messiah. There is no Messiah to attack because there are still wars. Not to mention he didn't have a Jewish daddy, which is kind of number one on that list. In order to be of the tribe of Judah, he had to have a Jewish daddy. It's just kind of part of the way it goes. But, I mean, seriously, if God didn't exist, blah, 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 then why the tantrums and rage-filled videos? It's because of the harm that Christianity causes. And my videos aren't rage-filled or tantrums. No. Expressing myself in a passionate way is not rage or a tantrum. It is being passionate in what I say. Next we have, secondly, why doesn't this fool attack Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, etc.? And the bottom is not too far, except for some of because they aren't a direct threat to his pathetic and pathological lie. No, they're not a threat to my life. They're not a threat to society. With the exception of Islam in there. And Islam in the United States isn't really a direct threat right now. Could it become such? Maybe. But the biggest thing that Islam would have to contend with if it would try to become an issue in the United States is I'd be sitting back watching because you'd have the Christians going after the Muslims. I'd be sitting back and watching the entertainment. Sitting back watching, let them destroy each other, and then whichever one would remain, okay, that's who I'll go after. But till such time, I'll let them fight it out. I wouldn't even get involved. In that regard, in the aspect of the two religions, Christianity and Islam, fighting over the United States, fine, you guys can attack each other and do whatever. I'll just sit back and this is fun. Let's see who's going to win this one. Because either way, whoever would come out, I can tear apart the belief system real easy, so it would just be a matter of sit back and wait to see which one is the loser in the battle, which one is annihilated by the other. But Judaism, not only do I not attack, I do attack it to a point when I talk about the brutality and barbarism of the Old Testament, but I've also done interviews with Mark Powers, and when I have a better way to record conversations on Skype, one that sounds good to you guys, I'll be doing more interviews with Mark Powers. But Buddhism, for the most part, Buddhism is atheism. For the most part. There are some minor differences, but there's no belief in a deity. Buddha wasn't a deity. He even said that himself. And Hinduism, frankly, I've never had anyone say anything in my life regarding Hinduism. So if I have encountered somebody that's Hindu, I don't know it. They didn't make it known to me. So in that regard, it's not in my radar. The thing is, continuing, thirdly, why is it that Jesus' name is the only name taken in vain? because it's a threat to the very demonic forces working in the world today. Oh, brother. Let me pause at that for a second, because this deals a lot with what Christians like this try to say. But they don't realize what they're doing. If there is this Jesus shit, it means by default Christianity is not a monotheism. Mono means one. Even if you put aside the schizophrenic Trinity idea of 3 in 1, even if you put that aside, in order for Christianity to work, you have to have God versus Satan. You have to have two. And if you toss in angels, demons, you not only have you have a full pantheon. You have multiple gods and multiple demigods on both sides. You do not have a monotheism. So someone like this that wants to try to say they're a monotheist, they are either too stupid to understand what mono means, or they're too stupid to realize that what they are doing is running with Zoroastrianism. The idea of a good God versus an evil God came from Zoroaster around the 7th century BC, with Ahura Mazda, which was the good one, and Ahriman, which was the evil one. Prior to that, you did not have this dueling deities. That is where it began. There were other deities that could be termed as a anthropomorphized aspect of nature, but be that as it may. But then they have, fourthly, why do Satanists attack only Christianity in the living almighty Christ Jesus? Because a lot of Satanists are actually reverse Christians. Or the Levian Satanists are atheists, and atheists typically have an axe to grind with Christianity because a lot of us had been indoctrinated in that shit. So by default, with what we grew up with, we have an axe to grind in the first place. It's not really a big shocker. They do everything in their power to blaspheme his name. They have twisted rituals, like saying the Lord's Prayer backwards. That, if they do, it's stupid. It doesn't really amount to a hill of shit, etc., etc. Why do they do this? Because he is very real and a very real threat to their existence. Fact. This is self-serving bullshit. It's striking me as circular reasoning. But if there's another logical fallacy that this falls under, because I don't have all of them memorized, you guys may be better at picking up logical fallacies and identifying what the logical fallacies are than I am, or how you can Google it and be, while you're listening to this, be determining this is the logical fallacy. Please, by all means, list the logical fallacies that this idiot is engaging in, because I'm sure there are many. But next we have, I could go on with many different examples, but casting pearls before swine. Oh, we've heard that before. Like this isn't my goal. Bottom line, this clown, i.e. Greg K., is actually proving the glorious existence of Messiah. No. There is no existence to prove. And I love how they, basically, this person likes to twist and have what I guess they think is a last name. It's not. He was never a Christ because he didn't fulfill the job title for that. And his real name wouldn't have been Jesus, by the way, but that's all kind of water under the bridge. His every intent is to disprove him actually proves him. No, I'm not trying to disprove him per se, but I am pointing out where everything he did and everything he said and his death, but the resurrection meant nothing. The death proved he wasn't the Messiah. And on, how he didn't cut the mustard. If Christ didn't exist and wasn't a living, eating, breathing God, he wasn't, because Numbers 23:19, God isn't a man or son of a man, then why all this trouble? The reason is the threat that Christianity poses socially to the world. It is not enough for me to does it necessarily impact my life? Because I'm not quite that shallow. I tend to look at things in a broader perspective. And I also look at things like the Inquisitions. They're kind of a given. They were very real. And that is clear evidence of what happens when Christianity runs amok and is let to run a government. But this was another post that this person did. Another fact about this cunt is he would never say this shit to our faces. This is where the threats come in. And this is where it makes me just kind of shake my head. I would probably be sitting in jail for second-degree assault if I ever run across his path. He's just an ignorant fool full of hatred and fear. Sad, sad, sad little boy. There's a problem with this. There's a big problem with this. First of all, since when does my freedom of speech mean that somebody like this would have the right to try and attack me? And the other issue, not saying it's a definite, but by a long shot, not saying it's all that hard to believe, jail might not be where they'd be sitting. A hospital bed could be. Because the truth of the matter is, if somebody attacks me, I'm going to fight. I'm going to beat the shit out of them. It's just that way. But there is something that I can point out. It's one of, you guys may or may not have heard, well, you probably have heard of Bill Hicks. And here is Bill Hicks.
I'm getting that close to hell right now. You know what, though? I find it ironic that people who are against things that cause sexual thoughts are generally fundamentalist Christians who also believe you should be fruitful and multiply. Isn't that weird? Don't you think they'd be for things that cause sexual thoughts? You know what I mean? Maybe even a centerfold in the Bible? Miss Deuteronomy? Turn-offs, floods, locusts, and smokers? Turn-ons, myrrh? I don't know what myrrh is. Chicks dig it. That's my room, baby. I got some myrrh. I did that joke in Alabama. These three rednecks met me after the show. Hey, buddy, come here. Hey, Mr. Comedian, come here. Yeah, I love that move. Come here. Not a physics major. That's a safe bet. Mr. Funny Man, Come here. Hey, buddy, we're Christians. We don't like what you said. I said, then forgive me. Later, when I was hanging from the tree, I was hanging next to this little green fella. Christians who kill. Oh, we're about out of ideas on this planet, aren't we? That's why I love people like George Bush or this guy Pat Robertson as televangelist in the state. These are Christians for stronger nuclear armament. Oh, what a great deal of faith. Because I know if Jesus were here, he'd probably have an Uzi on him. Don't you think he would? Yeah, he would. The Prince of Peace is back, but he's pissed off. Fuck you, Pilate. I'm back. I didn't tell you what kind of mood I was coming back in, did I, fuckers? Yo, it's Jesus, he's back, but he's pissed. He's yelling something about the cross. I didn't catch it. Jesus. You know, I don't know what y'all believe, and I don't really care. But you have to admit, beliefs are odd. A lot of Christians wear crosses around their necks. You think when Jesus comes back, he ever wants to see a fucking cross? It's kind of like going up to Jackie Onassis with a little sniper rifle pendant, you know. Hey, Jackie, just thinking of John. We loved him. We loved him.
And that really definitely that puts it into perspective as far as the cross and all that shit. Bill Hicks was great. Make no mistake about it. Bill Hicks, he was right up there with George Carlin. Fucking love him. Thing is, this dipshit had tried saying this, and the sad part is, I don't know if this is their sock account or another idiot. That most likely it's a sock account of theirs. But he'd be in the hospital in a quick minute if I ever seen him. Think about that. Really think about what they're saying. These people don't want freedom of speech. They don't want freedom of any kind. What they want is the freedom for them to say whatever the fuck they want. But anybody else giving a point of view that they don't like, oh, that's unacceptable. The thing is, also, some very good points on your bullshit. This retard is one of the worst I've ever seen, but pray for him and God can work miracles. This is a little bit of insulting bullshit that I see a lot from Christians, is this idea of praying for somebody. And I know atheists tend to try to just brush this off and be like the thinking atheist, who I do respect, had said the you pray for me, I'll think for you. I understand the snarky, quick-witted type of comeback that is, but it's inaccurate as far as I see it, because frankly speaking, you can't think for somebody else. That it just doesn't work. I'm more practical in the aspect of, can you actually do this? No, you can't. So you're making just as much of a meaningless statement as they are. The thing is, and I've had Christians say to me, why do you care if you don't believe in this? It's not about me believing this. You do. And that is where the insult is. It's not that I believe a God exists or that prayers work. I don't, and I don't. The thing is, you do. And by virtue of what you're saying, not only do you, the Christian, believe in this shit, you think it works. So what you are effectively trying to do is to take away my free will. To, in effect, rape me of my free will. That if this shit would be real, that if this shit would work, you would be about trying to force someone or everyone to being as you want, which would make them your little puppet on a string. That's why it's offensive. It is a slap in the face to my free will and to the free will of every living thing. It is you trying to make everyone your puppet on a string. Dance, puppet, dance. I ain't dancing, fucker. It doesn't work that way with me. But I see the eyes are the window to the soul. And if you watch his creepoid, you can see he is under the influence of some demonic influence. Okay, everybody, I haven't done this before, but take a look into my eyes. Do you see any demons in there? I mean, any demons hiding? Atheists, guys, tell me. If you see any demons or demonic shit, maybe there it might look freaky, but if you see any demons or demonic shit in there, please let me know. I'll be sure to wash my eyes out if there are any, because I don't want any of that. I don't want to get a demonic infection in my eyes. But then I don't know what makes an individual this much of a loose cannon, but he evidently has some very real mental issues. Wait a minute, which is it? Is it demonic influence or is it mental issues? I might suggest he is on psychotropic drugs to stabilize himself. Is on? I'm not on anything. But that would seem to indicate that they're acting like I should be, but yet they're phrasing it as if I already am, which really has me kind of wondering, what the fuck? But let's see. Oh, this was another one that was after the saying to him about his little threat. That's not a threat, bub. It's a basic warning. No. Same as if you were running your mouth at a tavern and I walked up to tell you the same. All right, first of all, let me point this one out for this numbnuts and everybody. I won't say I don't go to bars or taverns, but it's goddamn rare. And when I do, I don't go alone. A lot of times, I think most of the times that I have gone was with a friend of mine that was my martial arts instructor. And it's something that the subject of religion doesn't come up because, well, people at a bar typically aren't. It's not one of the things that is a topic of conversation. People aren't coming up to me asking me about my atheism, and typically I don't go out. I'm not a street preacher. I'm not a Christian. And so far as I know, I've never encountered any atheist street preachers. If I would find one, I would be very interested. That would be I really need to get a cell phone, because then I would want to take video, because I'll be fucking damned. If I would encounter an atheist street preacher, that would be something to videotape. But the other issue here isn't about freedom of speech, it's about hate speech against a group of people that have done you no wrong. Well, actually, doing me no wrong, that's rather subjective. Rather, what I would say is Matthew Shepard. Remember him, fucker? Someone like that, cases like that, are reason enough for me to voice my opinion in an area where I am entitled to voice my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, there's a simple fucking solution. Bye-bye. You don't have to watch my YouTube channel. It's that simple. If you don't like pro wrestling, don't turn it on. If you don't like soap operas, don't turn them on. If you're flipping through the channels and you come across one, don't stand there and scream at your TV about a soap opera being on your TV. It's not going to go off just because you're standing there screaming at the TV that you don't like it. Flip the clicker, hit the clicker, and change the channel. Problem solved in your world. No need for you to get your panties in a wad. However, what really gets me, I'm not the type to flag videos. That really makes me wonder if they are. When you say, I'm not the type to flag videos, I'm thinking you are. Because I'm not the type to do that. And I don't say that. I've never said that. I've never felt the need to even have it enter my mind. The fact that this shit is what comes to their pea brain is enough to make me say they are the kind to false flag. But to continue with that, therefore giving you the right to spread your hate, but it's not hate. Giving my opinion is not hate. But I can assure you, you've broken YouTube terms of service in every single video you've uploaded, you've created, in every single... No. Dude, you aren't smart. You aren't clever. You probably have an IQ around 70. This is a case of projection. And I almost bet you've barely been laid through your lifetime. And this right here, I'm going to skip to their last comment because it's really, really, really funny. Take a look at this. Look at that right there and their last thing. When a debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Who's the loser? Karma is a bitch, bub. And it's coming back to bite your racist ass in the ass. It's really fucking funny that they posted this shit. When a debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. And that is the very thing they were engaging in. You can check the video that I did on Jesus Isn't a Moral Cunt. The comments that I left, Didn't slander him once. Didn't say shit about him personally other than the fact of him being a fucking moron. But based on his comments, he is a goddamn moron. The thing is, Christians get their panties all twisted over this fucking Jesus. And it's a matter of if they actually believe this bullshit of Jesus being some grand savior or grand deity. Why the fuck would it need them to be trying to defend Jesus? Why doesn't this Jesus come down here and explain himself to me? Hell, for that matter, why aren't these Christians doing what this Jesus said they would do? That if they have the faith the size of a mustard seed, they'd move mountains. Holy fuck, we have a few mountains that could be rearranged. Then, demonstrate your mustard seed faith, your little tiny faith. Or, what Jesus also said that those that believe in him would do is the works that he did. I'm sure there's blind, deaf, and paralyzed people that would surely fucking appreciate it. Demonstrate these magical fuck powers that you people have, supposedly from your Jesus. Prove it. Give atheists some evidence. You can't do that. All you can do is, wee, wee. You don't believe our Jesus. Wee, wee. It's hate speech to not like us, to not go along with what we say. Where's my crying towel and my safe space? People make me sick. People make me fucking nauseous. It really disgusts me. I don't think this bigoted ass that I was dealing with is a millennial, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are. The thing is, the aspect of freedom of speech it's an important right that we have in the Constitution. But even more than that, if you Christians want to act like what's in the Constitution, that it was given by some kind of fucking God, that it is an unalienable right to have these rights, then why the fuck did it have to wait until the founding fathers, the 1700s, for these fucking inalienable rights to be given to people? I'm sure the fuck they could have used them during the Inquisitions, but they weren't around. So don't try blowing smoke up my ass and saying they came from a God. They didn't. They came from people saying everyone deserves to have these basic rights. And yes, I know you could point out the bit of irony that George Carlin had of everyone's entitled to these rights except for black people, women, so forth, and Native Americans. Yeah. That's a bit of irony regarding the founding fathers that, well, it is what it is. They're not alive anymore, but if they were, I would be... In some ways, they were idiots too. They were ahead of the curve in a lot of ways. But in some, i.e. the still going along with slavery, they weren't totally ahead of the curve. The thing is, the fundamentalist Christians, and I think that's how I should phrase this is most likely fundamentalist Christian behavior that I'm displaying in this. They're the ones that are opposed to freedom. They're the ones that are opposed to basic freedom of choice. Because if you have freedom of choice, you have the freedom to go, fuck you, I don't like you. I don't like your ideas. You can stick it up your ass type of thing. They don't like that. They want you to have the freedom to go, yes, massa, yes, massa. But they don't want you to have the right to go, I'm not interested. Or if you do, well, then you're going to burn because you don't accept Jesus. And they want to try and call themselves loving. I find it disgusting. I find it revolting that people want to have a scapegoat that they can try to pin their bullshit on just so they don't have to man up and accept responsibility for what they've done. And yet they want to try and act like they're superior to atheists. Or they want to try and whine and bitch about the calendar in the background. As if that calendar being there was magically influencing your mind to being that all you would be thinking during this whole video is boobs, boobs, ooh, look at those boobs, boobs. If you were, you have issues. But feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.